This is Western Canada's wrestling radio show.
You're going to have fun tonight.
Welcome to McGuire on Wrestling.
A dazzling wrestling exhibition.
Here is Mike McGuire.
I love professional wrestling.
Title shots? Forget that. How about just new champions everywhere? What a difference a week makes in both WWE and AEW. If not for the champions themselves, then in some cases the championship belts. What is up with that Trick Williams legacy title? I don't know. But what I do know is that for the next hour or so, you and I are going to sit down for another edition of McGuire on Wrestling. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer is back. We haven't had him on for a while, but we'll play some catch up all the way back to AEW's Forbidden Door and WWE's Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. And we'll fast forward all the way up to today and even things that we saw happen this past week on Raw and SmackDown. SummerSlam definitely shaping up to be an interesting show. AEW kind of building to Redemption, the big Montreal pay-per-view that's going to be happening on the 26th of this month, and a big announcement regarding that as well dropped on the wire earlier today. So we'll talk about that and a bunch more. Plus, I want to thank a lot of you that submitted your feedback on last week's show. We were talking about the bait and switch of title opportunities, or sometimes the rushing of title opportunities. A lot of you had a lot of great points in all directions. And the funny thing is, nothing really was disagreeable among anything that you guys said. It was just kind of your points of view when it came to AEW or WWE rushing world title shots or rushing title campaigns in general. And we'll talk about that with Dave and a bunch more. A bit of an extended session with Dave Meltzer today because we have so much to catch up on. That said, if you want to support the show, you're doing it right now just by listening. Subscribe to our podcast feed under Celebrate Wrestling and tell your friends about it. Tell people that you know love wrestling and maybe enjoy podcasts or radio shows and say, hey, Celebrate Wrestling, McGuire on Wrestling, Alternate Commentary Table, Legends and Champions, all the bonus stuff we do. It's always there, always for free, and always about pro wrestling. I'm going to apologize if the audio sounds a little different. You might actually hear the AC system going right now. We're in the middle of an intense heat wave across southern Alberta where I'm at, and really most of Canada, to be honest with you. And normally I try and kill the AC for production, but today I was like, forget it. You guys are getting it raw and real, baby, because it's just that hot. It's been that hot for a while, and it's going to continue to be. And I want to be comfortable when we chat about wrestling here. So apologize if that's coming in through your earbuds, but I tell you, it's worth it today because we've got so much to discuss. We have a new WWE champion in CM Punk. We have a new AEW champion in Kenny Omega. We have a new rivalry brewing between friend of the show, Nick Aldis, and Gunther, to the point where it's now gotten physical in the ring. We've got a bunch of other question marks on storylines, and there's a bunch of business stuff going on as well. So let's talk about some of the big news in the past 7 days in a nice little news package we call the 5 Count.
You want to hear that breaking news?
Well, it was a big UFC night on Saturday night and some crossover news coming from other mixed martial arts properties. We start off with some surprising news that came from Power Slap. I'm not talking about Jake Hager losing his fight by way of knockout, but I am talking about some prelim commentary that occurred with Rhea Ripley. The WWE Women's Champion has not been seen on TV for some time since winning the title. However, she did offer some insight, and the audio is a little hard to pick up in this, but you'll hear her talk about a meniscus tear in her knee.
I got a slight tear in my meniscus, so it's just healing. It's getting there. Yeah, it's getting stronger. I can't bend it very well, so kind of needed to bend, guys.
Well, there is no timeline for the Eradicator to return. We now know what the problem is, but the question marks are still there when it comes to a possible return by SummerSlam. Sticking with MMA and UFC, former WWE prospect Gable Steveson, the Olympic wrestler, the Olympic gold medalist that was projected to have a great career in WWE, has won his first UFC fight by way of first-round knockout.
Oh, a huge knee from Steveson. Ellison nearly out on the feet. That's it. That will do it. Welcome to the big show, Gable Steveson.
Stevenson had been tapped by WWE early after his Olympic victory. However, nothing really materialized other than a few on-camera pushes. Stevenson would eventually be released from WWE in 2024.
Kenny Omega proved that he is the best in the world. He proved that he is the better man. And he proved that he deserves to be the AEW World Champion.
Well, color me surprised. Kenny Omega, your new AEW World Champion. Yeah, I fell for it. So did some people. Other people said, no, this is going to be it. Kenny's going to win. And now it looks like it will be Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for All in London coming up in August. Now, what's interesting about this is since that match change was made, they have seen a slight uptick in tickets being released. Whether that was actual sales or promotional releases, to be determined. However, it looks like there will be some more people in the stands in Wembley Stadium because of this title match change. Or maybe it's just timing. We don't know. Either way, Omega had put up an opportunity at any future AEW world title matches against MJF or anyone else for that matter, should he have lost. However, MJF did disclose later on he's been dealing with some injuries, which we'll talk about later in the show with Dave Meltzer. Well, it wasn't Happy, it wasn't King, it wasn't even Constable, but Baron Corbin returned to WWE SmackDown this past Friday, interfering in a match between U.S. champion Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes.
What the hell? Baron Corbin!
In fact, he ended up attacking both participants in the match. Baron Corbin has not been seen in WWE for some time. Since he was last released, he'd been wrestling mostly in MLW and taking international stints in between. It was rumored some time ago that Corbin could be returning to WWE, and now it seems official that he will be a part of the SmackDown brand. And AEW's Redemption pay-per-view is going to be kicking off in Montreal on July the 26th. Over the weekend, AEW announced that they will be having a salute to the legacy of the Rougeau family. Brothers Jacques and Raymond Rougeau are scheduled to appear on AEW Redemption's buy-in show, which will kick off at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, or 4 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Pacific. While definitely not without its own controversies, the Rougeau wrestling legacy goes back some 80 years, and we're looking forward to more details as to what will be planned to honor the Rougeau wrestling dynasty. You're listening to McGuire on Wrestling on the radio and online, and coming up after a bit of a hiatus, Dave Meltzer is back. We got so much to talk about, so much to go through, and we'll do that with Dave coming up next. Plus, CM Punk, your WWE champion, defending against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Is this a main event, or will this match, like all the others, bow to the ruler?
This is McGuire on Wrestling. More than just McGuire on Wrestling, the Celebrate Wrestling podcast feed. Laugh along with Mitch and Dimitri on the alternate commentary table.
You're the champion over there, and I'll be the champion over here, and we'll be alliances together. It's like, come on.
No, you hang up.
Come on.
No, you hang up. Okay, let's hang up at the same time. 1, 2, 3. You didn't hang up. Me neither. I know.
Just search and subscribe to Celebrate Wrestling. Always free. Always about wrestling. Celebrate Wrestling wherever fine podcasts are carried. It's time for the Wrestling Observer Insider with Dave Meltzer, McGuire on Wrestling.
We have not spoken since before AEW Forbidden Door, which feels like 100 years and at least 25 World Championship reigns ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer is here. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, first of all, did you go to Forbidden Door?
Yes, I went to Forbidden Door.
Okay, yeah, because I remember reading that now because you talked about how you wanted to rate one of the matches after watching it on TV versus seeing it live.
Which I still haven't watched.
Okay. Well, hey, it's not like there hasn't been much other wrestling to watch lately. Jeez.
There's so much wrestling to watch and so much news. Every day there's like big news, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in a second here. Dave, last week on the show, I brought up something just kind of in conversation, but it happened after King and Queen of the Ring, and it even happened after Forbidden Door to a degree here. We're learning more as to why the AEW title situation may be what it is with MJF's injury, but I want to go back to WWE for a second. First of all, what was the point of the King of the Ring if Oba says, the title shot will be there later?
I think they wanted to push him and give him a big win and make him a superstar, but they didn't want to do the title match before WrestleMania. They wanted the most bang for their buck when they anoint him. I don't think they wanted to anoint him on anything but a WrestleMania. I could be wrong. No one's told me that, but the way they think, it fits perfectly.
That's a long time away, though, Dave.
It is a long time away, I know, but I think they really want a long chase. I mean, before the show happened, I mean, my thought is that, like, why would they put him in King of the Ring? Because it's too soon to put the title on him. And then he won King of the Ring, and I go like, well, that makes no sense. And people had already told me he was going to wrestle Brock anyway at SummerSlam. So it was like, okay, I think that they felt that they needed to tell everyone this guy's big star and beatable. We want him on that list of people who've won King of the Ring, you know, when they do those things, you know, later in your career. Oh, yeah, he won King of the Ring in 2026 and all that. But they didn't want to rush the championship match. And they made a point that the championship match is coming. We just don't know when.
A couple of our listeners have asked this question, and I've asked the question as well. And I've asked you this question as well. Why is it too soon for Oba?
He's been on the roster long enough. He hasn't chased long enough. I mean, every situation's different. But I think that they're in the situation where if he's going to be the guy, you want to make money on the chase, because the chase is often, for a babyface, a bigger deal than the capture, because you raise your stakes during the chase, and they want to raise the stakes as high as they can. Once you get the capture, people think it raises your stakes, but often it doesn't.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go but down, right?
If you've had the climax is the win. You know what I mean? It's like you give the climax early, then what do you know, there are people who benefit from winning early, you know, and circumstances are different in every case. Hulk Hogan won it when he came back, you know, like in a month. Right. But in most cases, you know, you want, you know, a long chase. So when you get the win, people have been waiting for it, as opposed to, oh, he's already got it.
And I think the Hogan situation is vastly different, too, because Hulk Hogan was already Hulk Hogan. Like,
yeah, of course.
Obafemi is still, to a lot of fans, still a hot new thing. And even though those of us that saw him come up in NXT, those, you know, there's a lot of people we got to remember that don't watch NXT, that don't correlate the two. A
lot of people don't watch Raw now, too.
Well,
you'd be surprised.
That's another story.
But Raw is a more prestigious place to be. You know what I mean? Like, more people could watch NXT than Raw, and it's probably less to watch NXT than Raw. But even if it was the other way around, Raw is still the prestigious place.
Okay, so that kind of touches on the Obafemi situation, and like you said, they've kind of got themselves out of that corner a bit by saying, yes, he'll get his title opportunity when he wants it, but right now he wants Brock. And fine, that's always been, you and I have talked about it before, that's a main event that supersedes a title, I feel, in my mind.
Yeah, so. I mean, when I look at the YouTube numbers, I mean, and there's a lot of different stats that can tell you a lot, but YouTube numbers to me are pretty, I mean, Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, since before WrestleMania, has been number one. It's been ahead of any Roman Reigns match, ahead of any Punk match, ahead of any Cody match. That is the number one thing. So I think, and then adding to the fact that it's in Minneapolis, that's the real main event. He's in the real main event, but he's not, and he's going to win it. I'm almost sure. Even after this giant win, still has to chase the title. I would never, ever, ever in this situation have said, oh, let's put the title match with Oba now and we'll save Brock until later. I mean, the Brock one needs to be on the way up. And if Brock goes and beat him, then throw everything out I said. But I think that would be a bad move.
Yeah. How many times have everything we've talked about been negated just by one win or loss, right? Because you just never know, right?
It could be, but you know, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have had him lose to Brock at all. But the thing is that he was going to get the win back, so it's fine.
I guess they feel that it's more compelling to have the 1-1. Okay, so that's the Brock Lesnar Obafemi dissolution of the expected title match from King of the Ring. Now we have Roman and Seth. Seth said it himself in the promo. You know, I don't know how much more time we have to do this again and again.
It's some weird promos.
Yeah, it was all right. But the question is this really the bankable match between these two? Do you think they can tell a new and interesting enough story other than you've never beaten me?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. The ticket sales will give you the answer. So I guess the answer is no. You know, there you go.
No, well, yeah.
Again, I mean, that's the answer. If it was super compelling, I would know. And, you know, I mean, whether I like it or don't like it, the fact is that the ticket sales tell you what does the public think. I'm not saying it's a bad match to have, but it's not a game changer match. Because if it was, we would have strong ticket sales instead of lackluster ticket sales.
You're listening to McGuire on Wrestling on the Radio and online, talking to Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer about the WWE Championship situations. Let's jump over to the other side now, Dave. Of course, the big story, and this was basically 2 weeks ago now at this point, with Sammy Zayn finally getting the chance to hold the WWE Championship and literally hold it. I don't know if you saw any of the social media videos he was doing. They were quite hilarious for the week that he had at pushing it on the swings along with his son on the other swing. Driving with it in the Corvette and whatnot. But, there's fans that are up in arms about this. You've already talked about this situation a lot, so I don't think we need to delve too much into why WWE did this. But the question is there a possibility now with Cody, with Gunther still floating around out there, and with Sammy, that this could lead to maybe some multi-man action? Or is Gunther specifically going to be busy with a certain friend of the show and a general manager of SmackDown?
I mean, I know what the card was. The card was Gunther against Keys and Punk against Cody. That doesn't mean that's what the card will be. When I watched the angle on Monday, I thought, you know what? The way that angle went down, probably should be Cody against Gunther right now before Punk and Punk later. And maybe that's what they'll do. And then maybe they'll go with Punk and Sammy in a rematch, and just with the idea of giving Punk another win. They could do Gunther and Aldis. It's certainly been set up. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't shock me. I don't think it's going to be Gunther and Royce Keys, which was the original plan. So, but I've seen nothing in that direction. And it's kind of like, in many ways, to me, a waste of Gunther on such a big show. I think that the Aldis thing is maybe, in the end, do they want him in the ring to do a match? Not that he can't do it, but do you want that guy in the general manager thing? Is it advantageous for him to go out there, wrestle a wrestler, then go lose it? There's a debate that maybe he shouldn't be wrestling in that role.
I have a thought that this Nick Aldis thing, they're planting the seeds for further down the line, because let's face it, we have less than a month until SummerSlam.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. And I think that this could be one of those things that percolates for a while. This could go later in the summer too, right?
Yeah. You could do it at any time, and you can do it. Like there's some situations where, we can build it up, but then what do we do in the ring? But it'll be fine in the ring. Like it's nothing to worry about.
Oh, I'm not worried about the match at all. But what I'm saying is that, to me, this WWE Championship situation with CM Punk now as WWE Champion, spoiler alert for those that haven't watched TV in the last couple of weeks, Sammy's reaction with Cody kind of teetering a little bit on being a little stale in that championship scene. Do we freshen it up by having even a fatal four-way with this thing? I mean, multi-man matches for titles are garbage, but
I absolutely could see a fatal four-way. I absolutely could see it. Yeah. I mean, and whatever it's going to be, I figured that it may unfold on SmackDown. It may unfold whatever it's going to be. But the four-way is certainly a possibility.
I think there's got to be some more steam to this, because Sammy, even though he's not maybe, as you've said, and others may agree or disagree, he may not be the quote money guy. I think to a lot of fans, he is the fans' desire guy, right? Where one of those guys that maybe doesn't make sense being on top for a long run, but he's still number one in our hearts, if number 3 on the charts, right?
Some fans, if they thought that it was a lot of fans, he'd have been champion for a lot longer.
That's fair.
I mean, but that's their perception, I mean, when people say, like, I say this, whatever, it's like, I'm telling you their perception. I'm not telling you my perception, but they have a certain idea of what a top star is, and Sammy doesn't fit it. Whether he deserves it or he worked hard enough for it, it's all immaterial. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, if you watch the Seth Rollins interview, and a lot of people, were bored by it and this and that, but if you watch that interview, you'll actually learn a lot about the business of professional wrestling. It's right there if you want to listen and learn, because there was a very educational thing there. It's like, I remember the first time I saw Roman Reigns on Florida Championship Wrestling, and I said, oh my God, Joe Anoa'i, college football player, Sika's son. And it's just like, he's got a lot of potential. And it was just like, oh, we already know. And it was at that point, it was the same as Dwayne. When Dwayne came, I mean, Dwayne's first 2 pro rap matches, I remember talking to people in WWE, and they said, in In 5 years, he's going to be the number one guy in the entire business. And it actually took him 3. It's all about a look. If you don't have it, they're not going to go all the way with you. It's just how it is. It's their perception. It's why no matter how much, and you remember Bryan Danielson, how over he was at one point.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how over Bryan Danielson was, they still, he was still never going to be pushed ahead of Roman Reigns, even when he was twice as over as Roman Reigns. It wasn't going to happen. This is their belief is to the average person. They're going to relate to big, muscular, good-looking guys. They have to be able to talk, of course. And the other guys are nice bit players to have around and give you good matches, but that's not your main event scene. And that is just, I remember when, during that period with Danielson, I remember talking to people there. Danielson and Orton were in successive months main eventing pay-per-views against the same guy. And I don't remember if it was Cena or it might have been Big Show, whatever, whoever it was. And Danielson's totally outdrew Orton. And I go, hey, there it is. Danielson outdrew Orton. Orton looks the part. He's what you want. Mm-hmm. Danielson outdrew him. It's the reality of what the fans want. What happened afterwards? Who's been pushed? Who was pushed higher, Danielson or Orton?
That's fair. That's fair. I still remember when Orton took it off of Danielson. Everybody was aghast.
It was still Orton. It was still Orton because he was 6'4.5" and had the good body and really good looking guy. And we can put him on a poster and blah, blah, blah. And that's just, even when the economics are different, even when Punk was selling a bunch of T-shirts, it was really hard for them to commit to him. But they eventually did. And Punk got over in a really unique way. And so he can't be denied anymore.
No.
But, he's, on their list. I mean, it's like, Punk, look, the 3 big guys are Roman, Cody, and Punk right now.
And Oba will be there. Oba will be there within the year.
Oba will be there no matter what. Yeah.
Again, you're listening to McGuire on Wrestling with Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer. Okay, Dave, let's jump over to AEW. And MJF has come out now talking about how bad of a condition his knee has been in for a while now. This explains a lot as to what's been going on with the AEW title situation, because last week, again, I was shaking my head going, why have this 12-man match just to blow it off, or 2 weeks ago, I guess now, why have this big 12-man cage match just to blow it off on TV the next week, and then we're doing the Kenny Omega thing the week after, but MJF has said flat out, look, my wheel's not going. It's not going to happen. First of all, is it safe to say that he's going to be out as far as All In goes?
I have no idea.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. And again, you're not him. You can't speak for him. So that's fine.
I don't know. If he needs surgery, he might as well get it done now.
Right.
And then, he won't be an All In, which would hurt a lot because he's a key guy. If he doesn't need surgery, I mean, look, if he can make it back for All In, he will. But I don't know. I mean, like we know he had a hyperextended knee. I mean, that's been known. He worked a hell of a match on it, though, with Omega. I mean, that was really, to me, it might have been one of the 2 best matches of his career. 3 best matches of his career. Yeah.
That was a lot more than I was expecting. And maybe I fell for the sell job. Maybe I fell for the promos here. But last week, I was not impressed at all with the, I'm just a 42-year-old broken down piece of what this Omega's promo, right? And talking about how he's not what he used to be. And maybe it got me hook, line, and sinker here. But I don't know if that's the way you sell me on your next world champion either. It's like, well, hey, you got beaten by the broken down version of me. Yeah. That doesn't really help MJF either, does it?
I don't think it matters. I mean, everyone knows how good Kenny Omega is. I don't think it hurts him, and MJF can get it back, with one promo. I don't think that hurts him. I think that Kenny tried to tell a story because he really wanted to make himself out to be the underdog, because I think he maybe felt that too many people expected him to win, and he wanted it to be, more of a surprise when he did. But people still expected it.
I don't think anybody was expecting him to win, though. I thought a lot of people were going into this. And again, we haven't talked in a few weeks here, so we got a lot to catch up on. But I think a lot of people saw this going the Adam Page, Cody Rhodes way of,
that's the story that they wanted. They wanted you to believe. They wanted you to believe that. I thought everyone that I dealt with was sure he was winning, but I know that they want, they in the TV show by shooting the angle with Ospreay. I mean, it was very clear that they were trying to put in your mind that Kenny's going to lose, and he's done. And then he wins the world title. That's the story they were telling. And, I thought it was done exceptionally well.
Well, you know what? And I got no problems with Kenny Omega either. I read it differently. And that's what the great thing about wrestling is. We all see it differently. And I saw it as, if anything, they were making excuses for why Kenny wouldn't win. But I mean, that's the fun of wrestling, right? You never know what they're going to throw at us until the 1, 2, 3. So that's all well and good. Dave, we actually have, like we both said here, we've got a bit of a break between pay-per-views and PLEs. Now, we've got a Saturday night's main event coming up. I'm sure AEW is going to do some more special edition Dynamites because they got a lot of time to fill between now and All In. But that weekend that all the pay-per-views happened, and I...
The 18th?
Yeah, I consciously made the decision, to watch TNA as well as WWE. I watched some Great American Bash. I watched Clash in wherever they were. That was Clash in Italy, right? Yeah.
No. That wasn't Clash in Italy. It was Great American Bash, and it was Saudi Arabia. Night
of Champions, right. See, this is what I mean, though. This is where it's just getting crazy. And then I watched the AEW Slugfest as well that went on forever and ever and ever. I love pro wrestling, Dave. You know I love wrestling. I love talking to you about wrestling. I love talking to wrestlers about wrestling. I was at the point where I did not want to talk about, watch, think about, smell, hear, taste anything to do with wrestling after that weekend.
It's too much. Well, you're going to get that more and more because that's the WWE's goal. The WWE basically, we can sacrifice and we're still going to be fine. But the job is to, I mean, you can see their thing. It's a full court press right now. If AEW gets on Paramount, which showed how much money they're willing to spend to get WBD, showed how much money they're willing to spend to get UFC, which it doesn't draw that many more eyeballs than AEW. When you look at that, if they were to get a deal close to WWE, the game's over. AEW won. I mean, not beat WWE, but they're in for good. I think the WWE is still holding out with the idea that if Paramount drops them, where do they go? And they're going to do everything they can to hurt them as much as they can over the next year. You can tell. I mean, they're just going all out, and they're sacrificing their own shows. I mean, the NXT rating in the United States was horrific. I mean, absolutely horrific. And they didn't bat an eye. That's the sacrifice. As long as
you're talking about the Great American Bash, yeah.
The Great American Bash rating was terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one's really talking about it. And I think the reason is because they all know that WWE sent them out there in a suicide mission. And they're doing it again against All In. I mean, you really think that they're going to draw a rating in the middle of the afternoon, or they're going to draw something with a double header with a 6-hour show with AAA followed by NXT? But if it can hurt All In a little bit, they'll consider it a loss leader, I guess would be the right term, right?
$1 paper towels. I got you.
Yeah.
Talking to Dave Meltzer here from the Wrestling Observer and WrestlingObserver.com. Dave, a couple more things to go through with you here. Some big news broke this week of the MyAEW.com streamer. And this is interesting for us Canadian fans especially, but Maple Leaf Pro is now going to be streaming for free on that service everywhere except Canada. It looks like that MyAEW services. This has got to be a big win for Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, I expected it. I mean, it's like you can see Tony's idea is basically to redo the Triller thing. You know, the Triller was doing, but Triller's having a lot of financial issues and trying to get everyone there. And he's trying to, he wants to be the good guy in the wrestling community and the other guy be the bad guy. Of course, both sides want to be the good guy. But he's going to give as many companies opportunities to be seen, which WWE isn't going to do. And, the idea that he'll have ties to the company and maybe helpful to get if strong talent comes through, that he can get dibs on them. But I mean, I think he wants to do something that he wished he had when he was a kid. It's sort of like with me. When I really think back, like when I was a kid, wouldn't it be great to have blah, 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 blah? Well, now we have it. And I think that Tony's kind of like that too. It's like, wouldn't it be great if I just put on this app and I could get wrestling from all over the world anytime I want, all these indies, watch these guys upcoming. I think that that's ultimately, and of course, Tony's big thing is the promotion, but I think that this MyAEW app is a way to, he's already got CMLL on it, and I could see him. New Japan will be tough because they have their own one. They still may end up doing some business because the companies are still aligned.
Well, and this makes for an interesting thing that comes from a friend of the show, guest of the show, Mike Santana, who we had on I think it was during your absence here in the last.
No. It was the day that I was on.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, he on his social media posted 7/15, as in, I assume July 15th.
I assume that's when his contract's up, right?
Well, I'm assuming that's when he's doing something. He's going to show up somewhere.
Okay, so
the two.
So what day of the week is that?
Well, this is where it gets interesting now.
That's a Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, right? So here's the question.
Wow, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I think.
But it's also the debut date, Dave, for MLP Mayhem.
Oh yeah, he could do. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on that show. Yeah.
Would it be the move for him to go there and try and do what he did in TNA and basically rebuild as best he could? I mean, for any flack that Mike Santana gets, I think he did a lot of good work in TNA with his time in TNA.
I think Mike Santana needs to go to WWE. I think at the age he's at and the point of his career's at, it's just, again, there's no guarantees that it will work, but he has to try. And this is the time to try. Like some people, I would say go to AEW. He's not one of them. I would say you need to go to WWE. And if you don't make it, you're a talented guy. You can always go to Maple. But I mean, doing a show with Maple Leaf, yeah, there's no reason not to do
they see any value, though, in bringing him to AEW? I mean, let's face it, they're needing top guys right now.
You never know with Tony. I mean, it's like he's a talented guy. I think in a way, I think Tony might love to have him. I mean, I don't think there's a grudge that he left, even though he left and, he was very, very, very unhappy with AEW when he left.
Well, there was a lot going on in both directions there, and a lot of it seemed to be against him. And we did talk about that a little bit in our conversation, but I just don't think that in today's wrestling world, especially if you're a top player or a player on the rise, as he is, I don't think I'd put him as a top player just yet, but he's definitely a guy on the rise. You can't have grudges. You can't hold grudges because
and if you're running a company, you can't either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing. At the end of the day, if there's talent, I mean, if it's talent that will be a mess in your dressing room, yes, you can be very wary. You don't want to have a messed up dressing room. Yeah. But if it's just just throw a name out, Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes and AEW did not leave on the best of terms. However, if for whatever reason Cody Rhodes wanted to come back, I mean, in no way, shape, or form for a second, if I'm AEW, do I not say welcome you with open arms? It's like bygones be bygones, right? I mean, like I said, I don't expect this to happen, but you can't hold that grudge.
No, that's a pure hypothetical, everybody. I don't want people saying, well, Dave Meltzer said.
Believe me, that's hypothetical. It's just an example. It's like if it's someone that can help you. With Punk, it would be a different story. If it was, and again, he could help AEW too. And he's not going there, believe me. Like with him, I'd have more wariness, because then you're causing problems that you're asking for problems. But with Cody, it's like, I mean, you could say there's probably a problem here or there, but it's not anything that would get in the way of the value of having him. And the problems are minor, and everyone will look past them, whatever they were in the past. I mean, he didn't have a problem with the guys, really.
It's already 4 years ago now? Like, it's been a while.
Yeah. And it wasn't like guys didn't like him. It was just,
business.
It was his time to go. He made a choice, and he made the right choice for him. No doubt about it. I mean, you can't argue Cody didn't make the right choice. You cannot make that argument.
Last thing with Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer. We're actually recording this week's segment a little earlier, so if there's been some modifications that I've said either before or after this, is this the weekend you're going to Arena Mexico?
No, I'm going next weekend.
Next weekend, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and remind me, have you been there before?
Never been there.
I didn't think so. So this is big. Yeah. This is big, Dave.
It's big for my family. We've been looking forward to this one for years.
Wow.
I've been looking forward to this for 26 years. 26 and a half years is the first time I said, when they had the Atlantis and Viano Tercera match, and I said, I should have been there for this one.
Yeah.
And since that time, there have been many nights where I've watched and go, I should have been there for this one. And I'm going on a night where it's just a night, I don't even know what's on the card. I have no idea. It's just, this was the only weekend it was the only week I can go. I mean, like the weekend after is AEW pay-per-view. The weekend after that is SummerSlam. You know, I mean, then my kids go back to school. I mean, this is just it. It was the weekend I'm going. I'm sure I'll go again, but I wasn't, you know, I'd put it off for so long that.
Well, we've talked about this before, and when you texted me that, I was like, holy crap, he's actually doing it. So I hope for you on the fan side of things, I hope you get to check your reporter brain at the door just a little bit to actually drink it in and enjoy it, because I know, like, for the first time walking into the pavilion for me, which is the only thing I can compare it to even slightly, you know, it's that moment where you just go, wow, I'm finally here. It is real. You know, it's like you see something on TV or on video all the time, and it's like, wow, it really is real. I'm standing in it right now. This is incredible. So I hope you have a great time, Dave.
I don't know. Like I never got that in an arena before. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't like the first time I went to Budokan or Korakuen or even Tokyo Dome. I felt that.
26 years, Dave. Come on.
I mean, maybe I will. I don't know. I
feel like I'm Aladining you right now. Let's open your mind to a whole new world.
It's funny. It's funny that from an arena standpoint.
Yeah.
Now, okay. I'm actually looking forward to Arena Coliseo.
Okay.
It's the hardcore, smaller arena, which, you know, even though the big matches are at Arena Mexico, Arena Coliseo is the one that's, God knows how old is that arena. You know what I mean? That's like the oldest. It's not the oldest arena. I mean, actually, the oldest would probably be Memorial Hall in KC or something, but Arena Coliseo is the oldest arena in Mexico, you know, and everything. And plus it's like Arena Mexico was like an arena that, even though now it's a wrestling arena, it used to be Circus and Harlem Globetrotters and all this other stuff, right? Arena Coliseo, that is pro wrestling. You know what I mean? It's just a pro wrestling building. And
will you be close enough to the ring in Arena Mexico to throw pesos at the ring?
You're not allowed to.
Really?
No, they banned that for a long time ago. It's a tourist place. They don't want people throwing stuff. No.
Lame.
No, CML doesn't allow it. When they go on Independence, that happens, but CMLL, no.
Too bad. That's something I want to do at an actual lucha show. But anyway.
Well, I mean, we did that at PWG, you know, for years. So that was
that's a little different, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but they did that at Pro Wrestling Revolution in San Jose. People do it. So
really,
you know, I mean, I can get my Mexico fix in San Jose at the Pro Wrestling Revolution shows.
But this is Arena Mexico, Dave.
You feel like you're in. I mean, it's every arena is different. I mean, Pro Wrestling Revolution is like the real feel of Mexican wrestling, but probably not as much as Mexico. But Mexico,
I would hope not.
but Arena Mexico is a tourist place.
Yeah,
you know, it really is. It's like that's where you get, you know, the people who come from all over the world. They're kind of fascinated by it. Arena Coliseo, that's where the hardcore fans go. That's not the tourist place. That's why I'm probably looking forward to it even more than Arena Mexico. But Arena Mexico is the famous arena, and you know, they're working on a string of sellouts, and it would be cool if they sold out tonight and then sold out next week, because then I could say I was part of the
streak.
Part of the streak, right. If they don't sell it tonight, the streak's over. But and they haven't sold out as of this morning. But I also know there's not a lot of tickets left, so they probably will. Yeah. And,
see, you could hold a title that you had little to do with, much like I do with my being an official WWE Slammy Award winner for being in the crowd, the WrestleMania 29 Monday Night Raw show, because that crowd won the best Slammy. And I've always joked that my Slammy is more legitimate than either of Owen Hart's. So there you go. Dave, we're plumb out of time this week, but listen, enjoy Arena. I don't care. Enjoy it anyways. And the week after, I'm hoping to get a full report from you about how it went. And of course, we'll catch up on the rest of the world as well. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer. Appreciate your time as always, sir.
Okay. Thanks very much.
This is McGuire on Wrestling. McGuire on Wrestling, Western Canada's wrestling radio show.
Brett the Hitman Hart, how are you, sir?
I'm very good.
Now spanning BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan.
MVP.
It's good to be back with you, Mike.
You can hear extended versions of the show, bonus podcasts, and exclusive interviews by following the Celebrate Wrestling podcast feed.
Killer Cross.
I'm actually enjoying this conversation.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Just search and subscribe to Celebrate Wrestling.
The main event of SummerSlam. CM Punk defends the undisputed WWE Championship against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Welcome back to McGuire on Wrestling.
Yes, those the sweet dulcet tones of WWE SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis, friend of the show. He's appeared on the past Holiday Hullabaloo. If you go back in our archives, you can check that out. And also a guy who is one of those people in WWE that has never had a match in WWE. He's been champion everywhere else he's been, but never an active competitor in WWE. And that could be changing. You know, Dave and I had our conversation literally before SmackDown was airing. So do I think that Gunther is still going to have a shot at a multi-man match? Maybe. But now we've discovered that multi-man match is going to be in the form of a tag match. Gunther and Sammy Zayn against Cody Rhodes and CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. Hausen. Which, again, is still going to be the Danhausen show, I feel. But that's a pretty solid main event. 4 big names in there, all in the active WWE title scene. Now, let's go to the future, and that is WWE SummerSlam. You know, the main event. It really is kind of a flipsy-dipsy term these days. I mean, we always say the main event is the one that draws the most eyes. It's the biggest attraction, right? Or is it? Is the main event the last match on the card? Back in the day, they used to do mid-show main events. I even have been to a couple of WWE house shows where they did that. The world title match was before the intermission. And sometimes it was just due to travel. Other times they just wanted to have a big rise in the middle of the show. I mean, there's tons of theories as to why you have the mid-show main event. But in this case, now we're talking about WWE trying to get eyes on ESPN, trying to convince people to buy the ESPN app. So what is the big draw versus what is the main event are 2 separate terms these days. But I want to look at the term the main event. What is the thing that is drawing us the most to want to watch WWE SummerSlam 2026? Remember, 2 nights here. So it even begs the question, which one is going to be the main event of night 2? Which I can't. You know, I still see these 2-night PLEs or pay-per-views as just, it's too much. Too much of a good thing is still too much. Either way, I threw it up on the Celebrate Wrestling Facebook page at the time of production of this week's episode. In your opinion, and you can vote on this, in your opinion, which of the following will be worthy of the moniker, the main event of WWE SummerSlam? Your 3 options: the WWE World Championship, Roman Reigns defending against Seth Rollins; the WWE Championship, CM Punk defending against Cody Rhodes. These are the matches as they're set right now. Again, this could change on Monday. This could change on Friday. They've got a ton of time to mess with these things. Or is the main event, in this case, the main attraction, Hell in a Cell, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar? Could the main event be one of the women's matches? Yes, it could be. Could it be any of the current women's matches? No, I don't think so. And it's not because they're women, it's because of the level of stars that we're talking about here. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, that is this generation's origin feud. This is, to a much lesser extent in some ways, but if you were to put it on the same level, this is the Hogan Savage of 2026. These guys have been around forever. They're both giant names, respectively. They've both held a bunch of titles. That's your Hogan Savage of this era. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. At the time of recording, 30% of you say that should be the main event of WWE SummerSlam. That's what's capturing your attention and your imagination the most. With 20% saying CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Now, this could have been a thing in AEW where, yeah, this could have been stellar and amazing and wonderful and all these cool things. But is it time to get excited for this match to be the be-all, end-all of CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes? I don't think so. I think they're just getting started. So, really, the build for this, and everybody talks about the build. Look, the build is the match is announced. How you react to it, that's the build. What they do leading up to it, that contributes to it. But how you react is the real build. And I got to agree with the poll here. I think the steam isn't there. They got time to fire it up. We could see some chicanery in this tag team match, you know. Cody and Punk explode. And they can only settle their differences at SummerSlam. Sure. I still think that match, and again, not a fan of multi-man world title matches, but I think that needs a multi-man factor to make it at least kind of interesting. And then, with over half of the vote right now, Hell in a Cell, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This is why you're tuning in. This is why you want to watch. This is what you are most looking forward to. At least half of you say this is what will compel you to watch SummerSlam night 1, night 2, the first weekend of August. Gross. Just night 1, night 2 alone. Okay. That'll be coming a week after Redemption. And then we have All In coming up at the end of the month. Man, tons of stuff to talk about there. By the way, let's not forget, we talked about it with Dave Meltzer. Maple Leaf Pros Mayhem getting a huge deal. Getting to be on myaew.com. So there's more wrestling for you to watch. TNA is in there with more wrestling for you to watch. But yeah, these are the big shows we have to pay attention to. These are the big shows that have the most eyes on them. And the next big one, no offense to AEW Redemption and to all my friends in Montreal, because I do think that the Montreal fans are going to be unhinged at this show. But I do think the next big show to worry about is SummerSlam. And that goes for Saturday night's main event as well. You know, we'll talk about both of them, obviously. But I don't see either of these as being big tentpole incident-worthy events. And I think that the build to All In is already showing that. Like, how much have we really talked about AEW Redemption? Maybe they're talking about it more on Collision. I don't watch as much Collision anymore, just due to time constraints. But maybe that's where they're building Redemption. I don't know. But WWE SummerSlam was the question. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins come in second to Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. The guys that have been here forever. Going against the newcomer and the only guy that's been there longer. Minus a giant gap in the middle. Okay, so there you have it. That is your thoughts. You're always welcome to share your opinions. Look, join the Facebook page. It's a ton of fun. People are contributing whatever they want. As long as it's fun, as long as it's about wrestling, that's all I care about. And that's all we care about, because the world is full of problems far and wide. And here in Canada, we saw another massive culling of some radio stations, of some broadcasters. My sympathies go out to them. My heart goes out to the staff members behind the scenes that were let go as well. It's not right. It stinks. And it just goes to show that if you're listening to this show on the radio right now, you believe in programming, not content. You believe in conversation, not noise. And I appreciate you being here for just that as well. That's why we love doing these shows. Hey, do yourself a solid. Get subscribed to that Celebrate Wrestling podcast feed if you're not yet. Coming up this week, Stephen Bennett and I will look back at the life and times of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, on Legends and Champions. Then the Greeks are back in town. Mitch and Dimitri with the alternate commentary table. I have another mini tour coming up with CWE as well, so there might be some bonus podcasts. But either way, as always, friend, thank you for listening and letting me do what I do. Until next time, play safe, drive safe. I be seeing ya.
McGuire on Wrestling. Online and on the radio. You can hear extended versions of the show, bonus podcasts, and exclusive interviews. Just search and subscribe to Celebrate Wrestling. Always free, always about wrestling. CelebrateWrestling.com.